as you were working inside Microsoft, I know you're working on developer tools, operating systems, but do you have insight into what Microsoft viewed when it comes to data and cloud before you left, right?
Absolutely.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why I say that, because though we were working on developer tools and developer runtimes, hey, we were working closely with the SQL Server team, okay, for thinking about hey, how do you enable people to write stored procedures in .NET, right? Or even tools that people can use. Again, SQL Server came from out of our world, okay? So we worked closely with the SQL Server team. Similarly for Azure, we sort of ended up owning hey, building all the developer tools and some of the runtimes for Azure as well. And so we used to, one of the advantages of being in dev or developer division at Microsoft is you get to work with pretty much every platform team inside the company, because you are sort of the glue that brings developers together on top of the platform kind of thing. So to go back to your question, Kima, the way I would think about it is data, let's start with data, okay? As late as or as early as I should say, the late 80s, Microsoft had been thinking about hey, data is is important, data is meaningful, what should we do about it kind of thing. And I think it was about 1990 or so that we started our efforts on what ended up becoming SQL Server, okay? And so right from there, we were sort of hey, we know that data is only going to be increasing in importance, increasing in priority. And you can talk about structured data, you can talk about a SQL, you can talk about NoSQL, you can talk about unstructured data, you can talk about semi-structured data, but the world is going to only see an explosion of data, and we need to figure out how we can help the world, both in terms of organizing and in terms of being able to make sense of the data kind of thing, right? So that has been a core part of Microsoft's what I call strategy or vision right from the very early days. And SQL Server ended up being one of the fastest growing, one of the largest businesses for Microsoft. And then hey, in the sort of mid to late 2000s, we started sort of paying more attention to the cloud and thinking about hey, cloud is here to stay, cloud is the future, and and we have a sort of what I call a substantive on-premises business, particularly as it relates to enterprise, between Windows Server and SQL Server, our management tools, our developer tools. We had a whole suite of offerings for the on-premises world. What does it mean for us to get to the cloud? And we started working on Azure, and the rest, as you know, is history kind of thing. But even while I was at Microsoft, we were fully all in on data first. And then at the right point in time, you could argue, in fact, hey, did we come to the party a little later? Maybe, but we got in early enough that I think Azure is sort of doing really well in the market today, is one of the top 2 cloud providers in the world, so to speak, kind of thing. And that's a testament to how Microsoft, though we had probably the largest, and the most what I call successful on-premises server business across a variety of products, we sort of made the switch to say hey, cloud is here, and let's go go to the cloud as fast as we can kind of thing. And the transition is a wonderful story unto itself.
Yeah, absolutely. My background, I've been in the cloud for such a long, on the Amazon website, on the competitive side. I do respect Microsoft for what they were doing, and now I'm benefiting from working with Snowflake, where I can work with any cloud, right, that Snowflake supports. So that allows me to have my multi-cloud cake and eat it at the same time, because Snowflake works with all of them.